Hello, welcome to my kitchen here at Trails Inn 62. Going to be doing something a little bit different today. What I've got here is I have some trays of already cooked. It's already been cooked. It was in frozen linguine pasta. So it's a lot like spaghetti in my opinion. Experts will tell you different. I'm no expert. So I'm thinking if I can use this for spaghetti, which basically you can, but it's already cooked, so I don't have to cook it. Now this is about a little over 3 pounds in trays, and it's already cooked. So I got 3 of these. It was just $2.99 for the tray of 6. So I got 3 trays of it, and I'm going to be canning it in my new Garden Master Nesco dehydrator. I said canning. I'm going to be dehydrating this in my new Garden Master Nesco dehydrator. And so it's going to be a little different. When I did my spaghetti, I kind of did individual nests amounts around. This is a little harder to pull apart, and so because it's so much in one tray, basically what I'm doing is I'm taking one tray and putting it on half of the dehydrator tray, and then another tray on the other half of the dehydrator tray. Let me show you what I'm doing. So I have several of these already put on there. This is my last tray, and it takes about 2 of these little compartments in these per tray of my dehydrator. I put one on one half and one on the other half, and I just kind of spread them out. And I understand, and I realize when I finally go to storing this dehydrated that I'm going to have to break it apart. That's okay. I don't mind. I like my spaghetti broken apart anyway, and I have a particular recipe that I like, spaghetti chicken, that they have to be broken apart to put in there for it to work. So it's not going to be any problem for me whatsoever to break these apart to store them in smaller segments. So what I'm doing is I put just pick it up, and that's the whole little tray right there, and I just kind of separate it out. And like with spaghetti, you got to kind of watch this dehydrating, because you know it's going to dehydrate at different rates. So I kind of spread it out so that it's kind of even on there, making sure there's nothing hanging over the sides or anything like that. And put half of it on there. Then I grab another tray, little tray, a lot of trays in here. I grab a little tray and I'll put it down here. Put it on my dehydrator tray and spread it out. So as you can see, these are kind of running together. And that's okay. I'll just break them apart in whatever sizes that I want when I go to store them. But the idea is to get it spread out. And if you cook your own linguine or spaghetti, same way, if you're doing a lot at a time. Now my original spaghetti that I did in little nests for individual serving types. So we're going to see how this works. And there you go. Now I'm going to do the rest of these, put it on the dehydrator. I dehydrate it at 135 degrees. And it could take anywhere from 8 to 12 hours, you know, or even less or even more. Depends on the humidity, depends on the thickness of it, and I'll go through it and check it from time to time. Now fortunately with this dehydrator, it says you do not have to rotate the trays. We'll see how that works. But I'll check it from time to time. I may have to separate some of it out a little bit. Alright, our pasta's done, our linguine. And I started out with roughly 9 pounds of already cooked pasta in those trays, and that made 9 dehydrator trays. And when I finished it up, I came up with 21 generous individual portions. And so what I do is when I took it out, I put it in these. Now I know these are not airtight, these don't seal, but these seal pretty good, and because they seal pretty good, I use them. They're not the cheap ones, you know, that you buy at the dollar store or something, but these work, and I put it in these, as you can see here. And yeah, some of it's kind of broken up, but that's okay because that's the way I eat my pasta. But I put it in there and the lid snapped down and it's pretty tight. I've tested these with water, and you put water in them, turn them upside down. Eventually the water under the weight will leak out if it's upside down, but otherwise it stays pretty tight, pretty watertight. But I put them in here, and then I got 21 of these. So I have some 5-gallon buckets with snap-on lids that have, they're called gamma lids, they screw in and they're sealed, they're watertight, sealed. So I was able to fit 8 of these in a bucket. So I've got 2 buckets of these, 16 of them, put it down into the bucket, and then the lid's sealed down on tight. The rest of them, I put them in these, and then what I do is I put them in a freezer Ziploc bag. And zip, that way they're airtight. And then I'll store these back on my storage shelf. And of course they're black, and I'll stack them on each other, and they'll be dark, and they'll stay cool back there. And so that's the way I did the last 5 of them. And so they're stored that way. Now, so that's it for pasta. This little quick version of it. I've done pasta before, but I did this linguine, and I've got it all stored up, ready to go for long-term storage, if it lasts long-term. But to cook this, basically what I do is I'll put it in a container, put water in the container, stick it in a microwave for about 5 minutes, turn it on for high for 5 minutes, or you can just use hot water. It just takes longer for it to absorb that way. It seems to be quicker in the microwave. But just let it 10 minutes, 5 minutes in the microwave, then let it set for 5 minutes. It's pretty much ready to go for what I use it for. So that's just, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to cook it on the stove. Of course, this was already cooked, but I didn't want to take up my freezer space. But you don't have to cook the pasta on the stove. You just pop it into the microwave, or just put some hot water on it and just leave it set. And, you know, it may take, depends on how thick the pasta is. Some of it takes a little longer. I like to put mine, cover it with water, put it in water, and then put it in the microwave, and microwave it a little bit, because that kind of speeds up the process. Now, the longer it sets in the water, the more it will absorb. So, then you just strain it off. It's ready to go. That's it. Appreciate you being here. From my house to your house. From my kitchen to your kitchen. God bless.